praktizieren.
The way we network together as churches is like a forest. Each church is like an individual tree, and we're connected beneath the surface by a vast network of life-giving resources. The roots intertwine and the mycelium grows between us so that resources can be shared and we can strengthen one another. We flourish better when we're connected. The prophet Isaiah says that the people who hear the good news from God will be like oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor. So can the forest get bigger? Can the canopy increase? Well, yes, it can do if new trees are seeded and planted and nurtured. And can the church grow? Well, yes, it can if new churches are seeded and planted and nurtured. Over recent decades, we've heard more stories about churches closing down than churches opening. And we might say there's a kind of spiritual deforestation going on in Scotland. But perhaps we can learn something from our natural history. Back in 1918, at the end of the First World War, less than 4% of the land in Scotland was forested. So much timber had been used in the Industrial Revolution and then in the war effort. So a strategy was devised for reforestation. And now, today, 18.5% of the land in Scotland is forested. It's a tremendous success story. There are 1.4 million hectares of forest in Scotland, supporting 172 different species, removing 12 million tonnes of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere every year. What if God has a strategy for planting new churches in Scotland, and he's calling us to join in with this planting of the Lord? If on the land forestry can be restored, how much more can the good news of Jesus Christ take root in hearts and lives and communities in fresh ways? One of the things we've learned in the last few decades about forestry is that you can't take a one-size-fits-all approach. You can't keep planting just a single species. We need variety. We need biodiversity. We need different species of trees. We need ones that are native and ones that are brought in from elsewhere, building a great ecosystem together. The future for churches in Scotland, I'm sure, is a variety. Some familiar churches like the ones we know so well, and some that are different species that look very different, but are still focused on the glory of Jesus Christ and his splendor. Because when the good news of God is proclaimed, you will be oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor.